The fucking goddamn stupidity. Let's listen to this.
Of Papa John's, formerly the chairman of the board, after that big scandal where they really screwed this guy over. He tells us, as I mentioned earlier, that he knows a pizza shop paying $35 an hour. Now, I know men in the left are cheering for that, saying, good, pay them a living wage.
So the founder of Papa John Schneider right here, this is the guy. I've seen him before on all those damn commercials. I don't think he's in charge anymore because of there's some kind of woke bullshit. But he went on the show and he said, I know a pizza place, that's paying their workers $35 an hour. Duh, no shit, you stupid fucks. I have said this before. Let me say it again. Because I know not enough people get this by any stretch of the fucking goddamn imagination. Is that you don't want workers. You want to get paid well? You don't want workers. This is a reason why you don't want immigration, legal or illegal. When you have 1,000 workers and they're applying for a job, for like a pizza job, because who can do a fucking goddamn pizza? Everybody can do fucking pizzas. Stupid piece of shit. High school kids can do a fucking pizza job. So you have all these assholes applying for it. Oh, I'll do it for $35 an hour. Well, I'll do it for 20. I'll do it for 10. I'll do it for 6. Just give me a job. They're the ones that push the prices down. They're the ones who are competing. But you reverse it, and you have 1,000 pizza joints out there, and there's only like 10 workers out there who are willing to work. Then the opposite happens. Oh, I've only been paying my people like $6 an hour and whatever the hell they can get in tips. Fuck the little bastards. Oh, no, hey, man, you know what? We're locked down because of COVID. And people aren't coming out. And so I'll do like $14 an hour. Man, not only are the lockdowns happening, but people are just dumb. They're scared. They're buying into all this stuff. I will pay you $27 an hour. I will pay you $35 an hour because we live in the Hamptons and people are just rich. They don't work. They don't have to work. They just have money. I will pay you. Then it's the businesses who fight. I do not care that there is a labor shortage. Let there be a labor shortage. If they can pay it, then great. I don't care. I want as much money as I can get. And this is what happens with every single job, with every single industry. If nobody's willing to do the job, if they don't have workers for whatever reason, then every single company has to go out there and compete as hard as they can to get workers. And I do not feel sorry for these people who have their own businesses. Oh, you have to compete for workers. Boo-hoo-hoo. You can't take advantage of these people anymore? Oh, this is part of the reason why they want all of these immigrants to come over. You know what? Because they don't have skills and they'll do anything. It's stupid. We're going to listen to all of this. And it's because it's just one fucking goddamn lie after another. So if you two are tired of being lies, are you tired of hearing, well, we have a shortage of workers, so we need to let more immigrants in. It's like, no, we don't. That is not what we want at all. I'll go out there and work. I want to get paid buku's cash, as much as I fucking can get. And every time some son of a bitch comes over, no matter what job it is, then that puts the competition on me instead of that fucking business. So if you two are tired of the lies, being manipulated, and just being fucked over, then give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and become a member, because I'm dealing with this shit. So let's start at the beginning of Tim's video here. I will leave a link in the description below. The name of the video is Biden Inflation Causes Wages to Drop. Economy faces collapse as millions about to get evicted. I am a landlord. I know what this is all about. I have had many discussions with other people, and fortunately, living in Texas, this is something that we didn't do here. Because I tell you what, if some son of a bitch thinks that they're going to live off of my place for free, I will deal with that worthless piece of shit. Because they might be able to wait on getting paid, or they may not have to pay on their mortgage or their rent or whatever, but that doesn't happen for the landlord. The landlord still has to pay the bank. And that these people that they decide not to pay rent, you still have to pay. The only thing that's happening is that it just gets kicked down the road. And you know what happens? Well, we'll talk about it because Tim talks about this. So let's get into this video, because Tim does a good job with about half of it on this video.
There's just over 2 days until the moratorium on evictions in this country
In some states, not this country, because Texas did not do that,
expires. And if it is not extended, there will be millions of people facing homelessness.
Wrong! Not homelessness, eviction. They're two different fucking things. He even says it. He even figures it out. Even though he's a dumbass who's not a landlord, he even says it in this fucking video. And I'm just going to say it now. Is that these people are getting money from the government. And they decided, I'm not going to pay because I don't have to. And they save it and they put it away. And then whenever it comes time, they're going to get evicted. And you know what's going to happen? Is that they're going to go someplace else. And because there's so many evictions, that these places are going to have to be a little more lenient. They're going to have to say, okay, well, you know what? Normally we wouldn't accept someone who's been evicted. But everybody's been evicted. We lost a whole bunch of people. And the thing that they're going to say is that, well, I got to look at this as a business. And so there's always a way to deal with it. And the number one thing is that if you're a high risk, well, then you're going to have to pay more money. So before, we didn't do first month's or last month's rent up front, and so now you got to do both. And your security deposit's going to double. Or they can say, you have to pay the first 6 months up front. They can say whatever they want. They can say you have to pay the entire year up front in advance right now. It's whatever it is that they want to do. And that's exactly what's going to happen. I've done that before. I've had tenants or prospective tenants who've come up and they've got some kind of sob story. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know anything about it. I wasn't there. And so I can work with it. And the more of a fucked up story that they have, or if they do have an eviction and it's like right there and it was like their last place, it's like, fuck you, get out of my face. But if it was a few years back and they don't have any kind of problem, it's like, okay, well, you're going to pay first and last month's rent now, and you're going to do double on your security deposit because I'm not going to play games with you. And they can either agree or they can go take a hike. And so it's like, no, this does not mean homelessness. This means that they're just going to get evicted. And some of these people, they're going to move in with some friends. They're going to move in some families. Some of these people have just saved up money. And so they're going to just move in somewhere else because they're just going to throw a whole bunch of cash at them. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, well, you know, we need this cash because we're behind on our mortgages too. And the reason why a lot of these landlords are not losing their properties and stuff is because if you've ever seen that movie, A Christmas Carol, where, you know, every time a bell rings an angel gets its wings, and it's where Potter, I think was his name, he's like the big tycoon guy, he ends up owning everything, but at the beginning there's like a run on the bank, or somewhere that there's a run on the bank and everybody's like demanding their money and they're like, no, we can't do that, we can't afford everything. The landlords, you know, the same thing. If all these landlords can't pay, you know, on these rental properties, and they're not cheap, and you're talking about billions of dollars, then they're just out of it. And then they have to pay people to take care of the properties, to ensure that they don't want people to break in and to squat in them. They need to hire real estate agents to go out there and to put them on the market, or to run them through the local city or county. It's different from each state, but through the government, to be able to sell it off on auction. There's more people and more things that they have to do, And taking the property doesn't mean that somebody else is going to eat it up out of their hands. It's like they're just stuck holding nothing. They really want to work with you so that you can keep it so they can get paid. And whenever you're talking about billions of dollars because of all these properties, it's like, yeah, they're not going to do it. That would be like shooting themselves in the foot. Nobody's going to do this. Anyways.
And boy, is this bubble going to burst. Now, of course, this could get...
It is not a bubble because this is not artificial inflation. Prices aren't going up because of this one specific thing. They are going up because of the other dumb shit things that fucking Biden's doing, but
get extended at the last minute and thus stave off the ultimate collapse of the economy.
It will contribute to economic problems. Oh, because it already has. It happened whenever they did this moratorium thing, and it's like, this is fucking stupid. Because if you don't do something for the landlords, you've done absolutely nothing. And this stuff about BlackRock buying all of this up, it's like, no. Here's part of the issue, is that I live in Texas. And you know what we have in Texas? We have a shit ton of land. And you know what they're doing with it? They're building. And it's just everybody building, from big corporations to small-time little builders, all of them all over the place. Houses, duplexes, apartments, whatever. And some of them keep them, some of them sell them. It's everything. And it's like, there's no way these companies can buy them all up. It's impossible because the price tag involved with that is just too stupid and outrageous. You don't know what you're talking about.
And it's not like it's going to be like overnight, all of a sudden, it's Mad Max. But collapse just means, hey man, hyperinflation, mass homelessness, job losses, business shutting down. It will be a...
And that's already been going on. Businesses have already been shutting down like crazy because of the lockdown and forcing people to do this stuff, which is the reason why we have such an influx of people to Texas, because they're like, I can't do anything. I need money. I want to work. Because the government, what they're giving you isn't crap. And it's like, things are going just fine over here in Texas.
Rapid depression. And you know what? This is Biden's inflation crisis.
That's
now,
right.
I can certainly say COVID is the primary culprit for a lot of reasons.
No, it's not. COVID has no control over us whatsoever. These are people. These are politicians. It's the government. It's fucking liars. Every last one of them, Democrats and Republicans alike, lying to us so they can do this bullshit. Every last one of them's lying in their pockets in some way. I've heard this forever since I was a little kid about just like little things with school boards and local hospital boards about how they're all corrupt and they get their emotions involved and their egos. And it's like, oh, I'm hot stuff, you know, and so I'm going to do this just because I can. Makes no damn sense.
But, you know, Joe Biden is the president. It's his policies, mass printing of money, and the immigration crisis, which are all feeding into a massive inflation crisis.
It is.
And it was Joe Biden who wanted to extend unemployment. It is the Democrats who wanted to extend the COVID unemployment.
And unemployment is bullshit. Because where does all this stuff come from? It doesn't fall out of the sky. Nobody's just farting this shit out of their ass. It's like, you have to get up and you have to go and do this stuff. Somebody has to go do this. There will be a time whenever we can make all this happen, when we have robots, whenever we've innovated more and technology has improved more. Yes, there will come a time where we'll have some really amazing, crazy inventions, and these inventions are going to be things like robotics on all different scales of all different types, from robotics at some kind of big factory with just the big yellow arms that are assembling things, to personal robots at your home, from little vacuum cleaners that are vacuuming up your floor, to robots that look like people, like in that Will Smith movie, I, Robot, and they'll just be able to do all kinds of things. And then we'll have more time than we know what to do with. But one of the things that we can do, though, is that we can keep ourselves busy by running tests and experiments and seeing what else that we can come up with. It could be a really great time for creativity.
Benefits until September 6th, meaning people are not working. They're choosing not to work. They won't get jobs. And it would kind of make sense if the moratorium on evictions went till September 6th and the COVID benefits ended July 31st, That way people would be like, I got a couple months to figure out how to pay the rent before I get the boot.
Oh, they do not need this. Oh, I saw this on the news. It was on MSN News, and they were talking about how they got rid of the benefits, and there was this big spike of increase of people taking jobs. And it was like, really? Who would have thought? My benefits aren't here anymore. I still need to eat and have a place to live and clothes and everything else, so I guess I need to go get a job. Who would have thought that? I mean, it's the bigotry of low expectations. Do you think that these people are just so stupid that they're just going to be like, I don't need to eat, I don't need money, I'm just going to do nothing, I'm just going to whistle as I walk down the road and everything will be fine? No, you're going to starve to death and die. Please.
But it won't matter anyway. We've heard the stories. People are getting these unemployment checks, and they're not paying their rent anyway. Why? Well, they don't have to. Because people think short term.
That is wrong. They are absolutely. I am telling you, I have met people 100%, and that I know that if I would not be surprised that if I ran into these people again, they were saying something along the lines of, yeah, I stopped paying my rent because I'm getting paid. I don't have to pay my rent. I'm pocketing this myself, and then whenever it comes time for me to get evicted, I'll just go live somewhere else. I'll pay them all. I've gotten all this money. I'm going to pay, this is what rent is. I'm going to pay them this much, and then I'm going to have this much for myself. Because this is the way that it works. If you have to go and evict a tenant, and even if you win as a landlord, they cannot take the money out of your account. Even if you had an account, or even if you had the money, you have to have an account that the money's in the first place. But they can't take it out of your account. They can't take it out of your job. The only thing that you can do is that after you've won in court, then you file against their credit report, and that way whenever they go and they apply for everything, whatever it is, credit cards, loans, or whatever, then they have a lower credit score. And most of these people don't give two shits. You know why? Because one of the biggest things that you're going to need a good credit score for is a house. Well, unless if you're renting, then it doesn't fucking matter. And I know, I've had to do evictions. And I filed on their credit report. And you cannot force them to pay. Oh, well, at least that is how it is in Texas. I don't know. It might be different in other states. I don't think so. I think Texas is pretty standard with that stuff. And it's like, you're not guaranteed the money. And so I have a few tenants out there, previous tenants, that stopped paying for whatever their reasons were. One in court. I filed against their credit report right there to make their credit score go down. They can go their entire lives and never have to pay me back that money at all. It's just there. Nothing. I can do absolutely nothing about it. And these people know it. They absolutely not every last one of them, but there are plenty of them who do. And this is exactly what they're planning to do. Do not talk about these people like they don't know how to work the system.
Boy, this is a bubble that is going to be big and it's going to be bad. And a lot of people seem to think that if we don't extend these benefits, if we don't extend the moratorium on eviction, it's over.
It's going to end at some point in time, and extending it is going to do nothing but make it worse. If it was like, well, rent is $1,000 and you don't have to pay for 3 months, then at the end of that you're going to owe $3,000. What's extending it out another 3 months going to do? It's going to go, oh, well, I went from owing $3,000 to now I owe $6,000. I've explained this to my tenants. You have to pay your rent because I have to pay the bank their mortgage. So if you don't pay, I can't pay them, and they're not going to accept shit from me. They're going to tell me to get up off my ass and to go collect that rent or do my job and kick them out. And so I tell those tenants, it's not up to me. It's the bank that's in charge. And they're not going to hear shit from me. You want to go talk to them? Can you pull something out of your ass? I doubt it, because they're not listening to me, and I'm the one who has the loan with them. I'm the one who maintains the property. I'm the one who deals with the tenants. Why should they listen to you? And since I've been saying it, I don't say it exactly like that, but you get the point. And after I tell them that, they go, oh, now that I never thought of. And then usually I get the rent like that. Because it's like, if you can't afford the rent now, why should I ever think that you're going to be able to afford it the next month or the month following that or thereafter? If you can make it, then you go get a loan. You cover up the difference that you're lacking behind with that loan, and you sort that out. I'm not a bank. I'm not going to go through your financial records. And what you have to understand, and this is something that tenants have a big problem with, is that just because you're dealing with somebody who only has a few places, you also have to think about like a big apartment complex that has over 200 units. How is an apartment complex going to deal with 200 tenants and know all their financials and all of that stuff? It's like they can't. Well, yeah. And so because you can't do it with the big ones, then you don't do it with the small ones either, because they have their own problems. The big apartment complexes can't hire enough people to be able to do all that. Well, it's not like, well, you have smaller, you have fewer units, and so you have less expenses. It's like, well, yeah, but I also have, my profits are a lot less. You know, I still can't afford it. People are just dumb.
Will be massive depression. We're already seeing major labor shortages. The World Economic Forum, with their fanciful video, 41% of people are planning on quitting their jobs. Why would anyone want to work?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of low-end workers out there, lots of them, and it's like, why work a trash job? That he talks about is just absolutely right. It's like, why should I go work for $15 an hour whenever I'm getting those same kind of benefits in one way or another? Because maybe they're not getting $15 an hour in cash, but how much is that the food stamps worth that they're getting? And for HUD, you know, they might only be getting like, I don't know, $800 cash or something like that. But because they have Section 8 housing, well, they don't have to worry about paying for the place that they're living. Well, they're getting food stamps, so they don't have to pay for their food. They have a lot of their expenses taken care of. So it's like, yeah, it's not that they're getting $800. Oh, how do they make it? It's like, no, that's $800 of free and clear spending cash. All their expenses have been taken care of. It's blow money. It's not money to help with their expenses, because the government's already doing it from all these stupid programs. I know a person who got a new refrigerator so it could be energy efficient. I don't know if it was from the government, but there's lots of programs out there. There's programs out there so you can have new doors and windows put in so that you can lower your energy bills. There's back to school programs so you can get clothes for your kids and school supplies for your kids. They're all over the place. So they don't care. So whenever they get $800, they just blow it. They don't know how to manage their money at all. And this is a big problem. So that you can't give homeless people and these degenerates who don't work, you can't give them money, because the only thing that they've ever known is that party time's here, because they've never had to manage their own expenses with this stuff.
Last night, we were graced with the presence of Papa John's founder, John Schnatter. And he told us a story in our members-only segment about how someone he knows who runs a pizza shop is paying $35 an hour to guys to make pizzas. He has to. Otherwise, they won't work, because the unemployment benefits are there, and they're about $15, $16 an hour. What do that mean?
And it also shows, this shows you that whenever you have all of these businesses who have jobs galore, and you only have a small group of people who will work, then it's the businesses who they just have to fight and provide as much as they can to get these people to come and work for them. You don't want the opposite. There was a meat packing plant that got caught doing this, where all these workers, illegal immigrants, and this is how you get under minimum wage. It's like, well, how do you go to $6 an hour? Well, they were paying like $5 an hour or something like this. There was this Hispanic woman who was telling her story to some news outlet, and she was saying that her parents came over legally and they all were working out there at the meat plant, and whenever she graduated, she went out there too. They didn't ever have to take on any kind of benefits or help from the government. It was paying roughly $14 an hour, and it's like it was good. They were fine with it. It's like they weren't looking to be rich. They really enjoyed spending, having free time to spend with their friends and family. And then they stopped taking care of the plant. And so now there was all this blood and guts and all these hazardous conditions that were appearing around the plant. And so people started getting into accidents. Then they would use up their sick leave. And that would be the end of their job because they couldn't work because they had some kind of really bad accident because it's a butchering plant, a meat packing plant. And then these people started coming in who couldn't speak a word of English. And on their identification, it would say, oh, well, this is John Smith. It's like, no, it's not. These people were Guatemalans. They were fleeing. They were able to get some money together to pay for some smugglers to smuggle them across the border. And they had more money still to be able to pay for fake documents because you can go to the DMV and Social Security offices and all this stuff, and they're not getting paid very much. They will never be millionaires working those stupid jobs. But whenever you have these people come in and they're offering, $500 up to $1,500 to get some fake paperwork, you can make some really good money really quick doing that stuff. And I don't know if you're aware of this as much as people in Texas because we live right across from Mexico. We're right here on the border, so we hear this trash all the time. It's like, oh man, getting $16 an hour or whatever, it's kind of okay for some people, but whenever you're getting like $500 to $1,500 a pop, oh, that adds up real quick. And then they also give money to like the HR department to let them slide in under the radar to get the job because you don't have to speak English. You're just there cutting meat, and you're just doing whatever. And guess what? Everyone else speaks Guatemalan too. So somebody can tell you and fill you in on all this stuff. And then what was going on with this place was that the HR department was putting that they were getting minimum wage on the books, but the company wasn't paying that. They were doing like $5 or something like that because what were they going to do? Because the Guatemalans were breaking the law. Whenever you break the law, you can't go to the police. Hello, police. I'm an illegal immigrant. I'm not getting paid minimum wage. I need some kind of action done. Oh, you're illegal? Yeah, we'll come deal with you. Where are you at? And then they get tossed back across the border or whatever it is that they do. I guess call up ICE agents or whatever. So yeah, no, so you can keep going down with that quite a bit. And why would they want to do that? How could you live with less than minimum wage? Because they get all the paperwork. So they get HUD, they get food stamps, they get all this stuff. And whenever they come from someplace like Guatemala, where they've got like nothing, well, their standard of living is here. Now, our standard of living may be here, and so they're bringing us down, and we're having to cover for them. But it's still better than what they had. And they'll do things like they will shack up like 10 to some kind of stupid little trailer, and they'll have bunk beds all over the place, but they have electricity, heating and air, they've got money, they've got food stamps, and then they can send a good portion of it back home because in Guatemala it's like, well, $1, American dollar, can buy a whole lot more there because of the exchange rate and the American dollar being better than what they've got. It's bullshit. You haven't done anybody any favors with anything. You know what would really be nice is if Guatemalans just fixed their own damn country, so then that way they wouldn't have to leave in the first place. Fix the real cause of the problem. And that's whatever the fuck is going on over there.
It means $50 pizzas. It means pizzas are going to double in cost. And when the pizza goes up, the food goes up. Because labor goes up, everything else is going up. Perhaps that's...
This is exactly what I talk about. Whenever minimum wage goes up and taxes go up, everything goes up. It's all connected. It's none of this simple little stuff. Well, if we just increase minimum wage so that they can have a decent standard of living, that'll solve the problem. No, it doesn't. So we'll stick with pizza. You increase minimum wage. Well, that means that, whoever the farmers are that are growing all these crops, so whoever's growing the mushrooms, they have to increase their minimum wage employees from $7.50 an hour to $15 an hour. And the same thing for the pineapples and the onions and the black olives and the sausage and the ham and the pepperoni. They're all different farmers. They're all different companies, groups that are producing all this stuff, and they all have low-wage workers. Every last one of them. They're not all a bunch of millionaires swimming around in cash. A lot of them's just low-wage workers doing a lot of simple little work that has to be done, like going out and picking mushrooms by hand. I'm not aware of any machine that can do this. And so you do all this by hand. It's simple, it's tedious. Kids could do it. And so you can take these immigrants on over and they can do it. But if they're legal immigrants, or if they are kids, if they're Americans, then you have to make sure that they are getting that minimum wage. And so now, all right, well then their prices just doubled because their wages, expenses have just all doubled. And it's the same thing with their tractors and with their seed and their fertilizer and water. Everything that went into growing these crops or whatever it is, it all went up. And they bought all this stuff from other companies. And those companies, same thing. Everything went up because they have low-wage employees too. And it's just because it's all connected. It's companies helping companies, helping companies, helping companies, helping companies. The vehicles that everyone's driving, they have low-wage workers. It doesn't matter though. Even if you have a company where maybe they're making twice as much as minimum wage. Oh, minimum wage is $7.50. We're making twice as much at our company at $15 an hour for our low-wage workers because actually we do need some people who are a little skilled. That there is some stuff there. Oh, now everyone is getting paid $15 an hour and that's like minimum wage whenever we used to make double? Well, no, hell no. You can pay me $30 an hour. I'm still going to make double. Or I'm going to kick rocks and I'm going to go over here to this other place where they are going to do it, just like with this pizza place. We'll pay you $35 an hour. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go do that instead. And it'll be easier. Why am I going to bust my ass doing all this fucking extra work and get paid the same amount of money as this fucking lazy-ass piece of shit scrub over here? Everything goes up. That's what inflation is. Inflation is everything keeps going up. Why? Why do we not focus on deflation? Why do we not focus on doing every single thing to bring things down? And one of them is bringing down minimum wage. It's not like you just have to get rid of minimum wage outright, but you could start bringing it down. And guess what? The market adjusted whenever it went up, and it'll do it when it goes fucking down. God damn, dude.
Biden's way of getting out of the gas crisis. America's no longer energy independent, and we're seeing $6 a gallon gas in California. Well, here's one way to solve for it. Massive hyperinflation. Because then everyone's salaries will have to go up, right? Wrong. Due to the inflation crisis, real wages have gone down almost 2%. My friends.
What that means, that real wages have gone down, is that whenever you take that dollar that you've earned, you cannot buy a dollar's worth of gas anymore. So say it's like for every dollar of gas you get 1 gallon. Well, because of inflation, it now takes like $1.02 to buy that dollar of gas. Because inflation went up 2%. Now, we're way past that because you know it takes a lot more than $1 to buy a gallon of gas. Whenever I was young, whenever I first started driving, whenever I was a teenager in high school, gas was under $1. With all the innovation that we've done since that time, why hasn't gas gone down? Well, because of stupid fucking shit like this.
This is a disaster. And I know, there are a lot of people who have been hurting for a long time, and a lot of people can't see the long-term impacts of what this administration is doing. And I see it from my friends, many on the left, who are just like, we need this money. We need Biden to print money.
Oh, man, you are so right. There are so many people out there who are just fucking stupid. And you know why? You know why? A big part of it is because people get to lie. This isn't a debate. These are the facts. Economists know that this is exactly what happens. That's why there are people out there just like Tim Pool who are like, yes, this is the way that you create inflation. Because it's been talked about. Inflation is absolutely nothing new. You can absolutely predict this. I mean, what? Have you not understood the fucking words coming out of my mouth? Man, if you don't, then you must be in the 3rd fucking grade. Man, go to bed, child. Get the fuck off my channel.
We need to bar the evictions. And I'm like, dude, it's poison. It is poisoning the economy. I see these people posting on Reddit anti-work saying we shouldn't have to work jobs we don't like. It is poisoning the economy.
Don't want to work jobs that we don't like? Then don't work the job. And you're going to have to at some point in time because everybody starts off with no work experience and those first jobs should be the worst jobs that you get, but you have to prove that you're a good worker. Why the fuck should anybody take your word with a goddamn thing?
You are on borrowed time. Now, I don't know, maybe there'll be a solution. We tend to always find a way out of these crises. But for the time being, I can point...
And you know what the majority of the answers are whenever to getting ourselves out of these financial crises? Is that is one thing that the Republicans do. Is that they come on in and they clean up all these damn policies and clean all this shit up. They get rid of the red tape. They stop the spending. And they do the reverse. They don't do it very often. They don't do it very strong. But Trump is a great example of this. It's what he did, and that's why the economy was doing really great, even there at the end with COVID. And it's why it's gone down and tanked like a fucking goddamn rock because Biden's a fucking idiot.
Find out what's happening and tell you, if we do not get a hold of this, we're in for a great reckoning, and it's coming soon. Now, before we get started...
I mean, it could... There could be some kind of reckoning, but there doesn't have to be. There's nothing that's set. The Chancellor of Germany after World War II, whenever the Allies had won and they were in charge, he came in on Sunday and he said, I'm getting rid of all the laws. Do whatever you want to. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them that dealt with business and the economy. He got rid of all those. And he was like, do what you need to do. And the economy just... Because guess what? People... turns out are pretty creative and smart and they'll work hard, and whenever they just get the raw benefits of being able to do this actually goes pretty well with John Stossel here. He did a video called Weedy Regulations, and it's about marijuana, and it's all
politicians just won't learn from their mistakes.
The beginning of recreational cannabis sales.
It's good that states finally are legalizing marijuana.
You don't know that? Says who? What are you talking about? I mean, in a way it kind of is, because the only people who can decide what's best for them are themselves. Because I don't know you and you don't fucking know me.
But many do it so stupidly, with so many unnecessary rules, that the black market, the dangerous illegal market, is as big as ever.
A drug deal left a 17-year-old dead.
7 people who had been shot, 6 of them pronounced dead.
Why didn't legalization put the gangs out of business? Because of
a long list of new rules that you need to be aware of.
You have people setting these regulations that have no familiarity with cannabis.
California's bureaucrats.
Because it's all to make them look
so
good.
many rules.
Politicians don't care about what's right or wrong.
That even the government admits
illegal cannabis grows. They're getting worse, not better.
That's because it's easier to make money if you ignore the rules. Legal sellers must provide paperwork for every plant.
I mean, you look around you right now, there's a tag on every single one of these 20,000 plants, and that follows that.
So the black market. So guess what? Whenever you get rid of all these rules and regulations, and you just let people do whatever.
If you're a seller on the black market, no permits.
No permits, no licenses, no taxes.
As a result, in California,
That little old lady just making money because she didn't have to jump through all those red tapes. You know what we can do now because of technology is that we can do all this ourselves, and we can police ourselves, and we can have something like Whelp, and we can rate this stuff ourselves. Oh, this was absolute trash. I'm giving it a 1 star. Here's why. And we can refine it. I mean, it's so underutilized. I tell you what, I've got the answer to this stupid lying bullshit.
Head over to timcast.com, become a member, and you'll get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast.
I recommend you do that. I don't think Tim is a bad guy at all. I think he's absolutely stupid with some stuff, but with some things, like with the news, it's like he does a pretty good job on some of it, and so this one's kind of a mix, and yeah.
Bell, and share the video if you think this stuff is important.
Same thing. If you think this is important, share this video. Sorry for the profanity, but the stupidity level, it just... It's because, you know what, they're too busy trying to teach this woke nonsense in school instead of the things that I'm talking about. People would have such a better, clearer vision of what the hell's going on if they would stick to more pertinent information. You can't learn everything. How many degrees, how many plans, college plans do they have for you to follow? Whenever you look through all those things, how many different classes are there? You could spend your whole lifetime learning, and they're still coming out with new stuff today. That's why we get new technologies all the time with everything, because of all the new things that are being invented and thought of.
Here's the story we have from timcast.com, and I want to set the stage first with this inflation story because it's fairly simple. And then I want to talk about the evictions and the crisis that is about to hit.
42 minutes. I'm going to stop because all I'm going to do is just continue to get worked up. I try so hard to bite my lip with this stuff because it's just... At my stage in my life right now, it's like this seems like common sense to me. And I don't expect younger people to have quite this understanding, but I know that there are plenty who do. But it's so frustrating whenever there's all of these old fake pieces of shit like Joe Biden and all these Republicans and Democrats, and they're just out there spouting these lies. There are some that they probably honestly don't know, but their job is the deciding factor. They should have to know this for their job. They go on and they talk about this all the time. It's their job. For them, I don't care if it's intentional or unintentional. It's a lie, and they should know this. They should absolutely know it. If they're going to go around and they're going to spout this shit, it's like, then you should know what the fuck you're talking about. So if you've understood this, you're tired of the lies, if you enjoyed this content, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, become a member. I've got Patreon unsubscribed star too, because I'm not going to stop. And I'm only going to get better at this. I'm going to keep going, and I will deal with this. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you again later. Bye.